Universal's strategy in Orlando since day one has been to eat Disney's lunch. They looked out at the smorgasbord of dollars and cents that were on Disney's plate and they said, you know what, we'd like a piece of that. And for a long time, let's just say Universal was unsuccessful in this pursuit. Instead of eating off the plate, Universal was the dog underneath the table, begging for scraps, licking up the crumbs that fell to the floor. But Universal remained persistent. And in the last 15 years, they've not only started to eat off of Disney's plate, but they're actually eating a substantial portion of that plate. Of course, the largest entree here is the theme parks themselves. And of course, this is where Universal has made their greatest strides. However, that's been talked about ad nauseum at this point. And there are other pieces of the pie here that make up this plate that Disney has enjoyed by themselves for decades. This includes the water parks, the shopping and entertainment districts like Disney Springs and City Walk, and it also includes the second most important part of this pie, the resorts. The hotel business has always been a major part of theme parks for a long time, but over the last few decades, it's really become an absolutely vital part of your operations. Now, the hotels themselves bring in a decent amount of money, but compared to the other revenue streams we already talked about, their profit margins are way smaller. The real benefit here comes from everything associated with guests staying on property. If guests are staying at your hotel on property, they're more than likely going to spend majority, if not all of their trip at your parks and not your competitors, not only because of the location, but also because of all the other perks that come with staying on property. This could be Universal Express Pass, this could be the Disney bus transportation, this could be the water taxis, this could be early park admission. All these things further incentivize guests to make their trip about whatever park it is that they are staying on the property of. And guess what? If guests are staying on your property and majority of their trip happens to be going to your parks, then they don't really have a ton of reason to leave the property grounds at all. Meaning that they're gonna eat at your restaurants, they're gonna shop at your stores, and ultimately a higher percentage of the amount of money that this guest is spending on their vacation is going into your pocket and not into someone else's. And what you might have noticed is that I just described the Disney bubble. Guests will stay at a Disney resort, they'll eat at Disney Springs or at other hotels. They'll use Disney's complimentary transportation. And then the only time they leave Disney grounds is when they're going home. And the very foundation of that idea is the resorts. It doesn't work if you don't have places for people to stay at on property. And although Universal has made up a lot of ground in the theme park game, they still find themselves miles behind when it comes to the hotel business. Universal has 8 hotels on property, and that might sound like a lot, but it is a far cry from the staggering 20 plus that Disney World has. It is insane, more than double than what Universal has. And this is really a huge competitive advantage that Disney still holds over Universal to this day, with this massive amount of hotel capacity and the fact they basically have a small civilization living all in this one area in their Disney bubble. And let me tell you, the Disney bubble is actually pretty fantastic. There's a ton to do. It's extremely convenient, very clean. Unlike where I am right now, you may notice I'm not in the Disney bubble. I'm actually paying a visit to Skull Island. And I know you're thinking, not a very friendly bunch of people here, but that's where you're wrong, my friend. Using Surfshark VPN, today's sponsor, I was able to connect to Skull Island exclusive websites before even coming here. Hopped on a few forums, made a few friends, and hey Peggy, yeah, I'll meet you for lunch later. All right, yeah, Sulme Kong. Oh, lovely lady. But even though I'm quite literally off the map right now, not a joke, I can still enjoy the comforts of home. And that's not because Skull Island's the most hospitable place, no offense, but because with Surfshark VPN, I can connect back to the servers in the good old USA and still be able to keep up with all my favorite shows, even if they aren't available on the streaming services here in Skull Island. But I will say this, folks, for as lovely as a lot of the people here are, there still are some shady characters. Considering I'm always on public Wi-Fi when I'm here, having Surfshark VPN to encrypt my data and keep it hidden from ne'er-do-wells allows me to never fear when using my phone. So anyways, what are you waiting for? Get Surfshark VPN today. Use the code Attraction Ideas at checkout for 3 extra months free. I should be going. Now, to be fair to Universal, they're not just laying down and dying here. They are making strides to put a dent into this gap. They have 3, count them, 3 new hotels opening up next year in 2025, all alongside the opening of Epic Universe. Plus, the Epic Universe plot of land has a ton of room for expansion that could be used for future hotels. In fact, almost certainly will be used for future hotels. But here's the thing. Even if Universal continues on this trend and continues to build new hotels and even outpaces Disney in new hotel construction, it ultimately won't matter. They're never going to catch up to Disney in the hotel game. It's always going to be something that Disney's going to have looming over their heads because Disney has an ace up their sleeve that Universal currently does not have. That ace being the Disney Vacation Club, essentially Disney's timeshare program. This program has supercharged the hotel business for Disney over the past few decades and has absolutely substantially increased the amount of money that Disney is bringing in on the bottom line from their hotel business year after year. The way it works is that essentially it's a point-based system where owners pay an X amount of dollars per year to get access to a certain amount of points they can then put towards their hotel stays every single year. Now, the cost of that for the guest depends based on what hotel you pick as your home resort and how many points you want per year. And there are really 2 separate costs that come along with this. One is the price to actually buy the timeshare, which is a flat one-time fee that ranges in the tens of thousands of dollars, and a yearly maintenance fee that costs thousands of dollars per year. And these are not short-term contracts, folks. You are locked in for decades paying this amount of money. And listen, for a lot of guests who do visit Disney on a frequent basis, this is a huge plus. They actually get a lot out of this. But the real big winner here is Disney. They were able to substantially grow their hotel base, not only in Disney World, but also in Disneyland, as well as in other locations such as Hilton Head Island, Vero Beach, and Hawaii, simply off the back of timeshare owners providing Disney with that massive upfront fee that lined Disney's pockets with a significant amount of cash on hand that they were able to put towards building new hotels. Combine this with the ever-expanding timeshare owner base thanks to all the new hotel construction, and now you have a ton of free cash flow that's coming in every year consistently through these contracts that you know you're going to continue to get for decades to come. And even though many of these timeshare owners do come out to Disney on a fairly regular basis, even if for whatever reason they're not able to make it down in a given year, Disney still makes money off them. It really is a genius strategy that has catapulted Disney into the hotel giant they are today. So if Universal wants to continue to eat more of Disney's lunch, they need to get into the timeshare game themselves, because those DVC contracts, those DVC owners, they're only continuing to grow and lock into longer contracts, meaning that for the very least, like the next 50 years or so, Disney's always going to have that leg up on Universal. And you might be saying, oh, well, Disney's got this on lock already. They're already dominating this industry. If you try to come in there, you're not going to succeed. You're going to fail. Disney's going to trounce you. Did that stop Universal when they built Universal Studios Florida? No. And look where they are today. So take a lesson from history, folks. Rome wasn't built in one day.
Do you have any doubts about your decision?
No. I don't have any doubts at all. Man, it's very tough.
We all know Rome wasn't built in one day. Rome wasn't built in one day.
Not 7, not 6, not 5.
I don't even like this guy.
Not 4, not 3, not 2.
Got a lot of work to do.
We believe it's gonna be easy.
No one ever said it was gonna be easy.
We believe it's gonna be easy.
I expect to win.
Multiple championships.
No one ever said it was gonna be easy.
I mean, it's gonna be easy.
So if Universal were to start a timeshare program today, what would it look like? Well, that's where things get a little tricky. You see, Universal has the massive hurdle of not operating any of their hotels. Unlike Disney, who operates every single one of their hotels with the exception of the Marriott hotels in the Swan and Dolphin, Universal outsources all of their hotel operations to Loews. Combine this with the fact that Universal doesn't even 100% own every single property and actually co-owns a lot of the properties with Loews, and you have this massive roadblock where not only do you have to cooperate with this other company, but you also have to split the profits with them. But all is not lost here, because Loews actually brings some benefits with working with them. I mean, they have a lot of hotel experience. Of course, Universal and Loews have been working together for a long time. And when you talk about building as robust of a timeshare program as possible, one of the things that Disney's been able to do is build hotels in locations outside of their theme park destinations, allowing owners to go on different types of vacations with their timeshare. By teaming up with Loews, Universal could have the other Loews locations as a part of the timeshare program, allowing people who sign up for Universal's timeshare to be able to go ahead and use their points towards those other locations. But this still presents another hurdle for Universal, because you need rooms to block out for timeshare owners so that way they can visit whenever they so please. This means building resorts specifically dedicated to timeshare owners or just separate buildings dedicated to timeshare owners. And given Universal's meager hotel holdings, they really would have no choice but to build, right? I mean, you can't just say, oh, we're gonna block out all the rooms in Aventura. It's just not gonna work, right? I mean, you're already cutting your hotel capacity at the knees when it's already barely large enough to handle the amount of guests you hope to get. And then you have to consider if Loews is not on board with the whole timeshare idea, well, then you're basically starting from ground zero, because then Universal has to learn how to operate a hotel and build out that division, but they also have to build brand new hotels that aren't co-owned by Loews. I mean, when you think about this Loews partnership, though it could bring benefits if they're able to work together on a timeshare program, if for whatever reason they can't make a deal work out there, it actually presents a problem where now Universal's basically starting from ground zero. But even if that's the case, there's no reason for Universal to worry or to fear that they can't pull this off, because Disney themselves started from humble beginnings. They only had one resort dedicated to the timeshare program when they first started. In 1991, they opened up the Disney Vacation Club Resort, which was later renamed to the Old Key West Resort. And since then, they have built an empire out of the DVC program. And it didn't take just a couple years, it took literal decades for Disney to build out the program to what it is today. So Universal can start by building a location in Orlando and then expanding possibly to Hollywood and other locations around the country. But they're gonna have to start small, they're gonna have to start by learning a lot, and they're gonna have to invest a lot of capital. But guess what? That shouldn't intimidate them, because that is the exact same scenario they were faced with when they first built their theme park in Orlando. If you weren't deterred by all the struggles and hiccups and financial troubles that faced you when you first entered the market in Orlando in the first place, I don't see why you couldn't jump into the timeshare game with the exact same mentality and eventually succeed if you continue to have the same perseverance that you've been able to have throughout your first however many decades of existence. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think that Universal should get into the timeshare game? Is it worth all the money and effort that it would require on their behalf to get it going? Or do you think they should stay out of Disney's lane, let them have that one piece of the pie, and focus on building up market share everywhere else? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'd love to hear what you have to say, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.